All right, let's talk about something we all think about. How do you make your income last? Today, we're going to dive into that by looking at two really interesting ideas, annuities and perpetuities. One is kind of like a financial dream, and the other is a real-world strategy you can actually use. Let's figure out which is which. I mean, just think about that for a second. A check shows up every month, every year, and it just never stops. It's a pretty amazing thought, right? Well, that's the idea that kicks this whole conversation off. You know, this dream of having an income that's literally infinite, it's a powerful one. It's the ultimate form of financial security, right? The idea that you could never, ever outlive your money. And believe it or not, there's a specific financial name for this very thing. And that name is a perpetuity. The word to really focus on here is indefinitely. Think about it. Your salary ends when you stop working. Loan payments have an end date. But a perpetuity, by its very definition, it's designed to just keep going and going forever. But, and this is a really big but, here's the catch. As cool as this sounds, a perpetuity isn't something you can just go out and buy for your 401k. It's mostly a theoretical concept. So, if you can't buy one, where does this idea even show up? Well, it's used all the time by economists and financial whizzes. You see it in things like old-school government bonds from Britain called consols that never matured. It's the whole idea behind how huge university endowments are set up to pay out forever. And it's a super important tool for figuring out the value of a stock that's expected to pay dividends, well, forever. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. A perpetuity is a tool for math, for financial models. It's not something you or I can add to our portfolio. So if the dream of endless income isn't a real product, then what is? And that brings us to its practical, real-world cousin, the annuity. This is the thing that people actually use to build a dependable income stream, especially when they get to retirement. So what is it? An annuity is basically a contract you make with an insurance company. You give them a chunk of money, and in return, they promise to give you a series of payments back. Now, did you catch the key difference here? The payments are for a specific, fixed period. That period might be 10 years or 20 years or, and this is the important one, for the rest of your life. And this table right here is where it all becomes crystal clear. An annuity has a fixed duration. Even if it's for your whole lifetime, it's still tied to a life. A perpetuity, on the other hand, is infinite. That means an annuity has an end date, but a perpetuity doesn't. And the bottom line says it all. One is a real insurance product you can get for retirement, and the other is a theoretical idea used for financial analysis. So, what are the actual benefits of using an annuity in the real world? Well, the biggest one, by far, is that the income can be guaranteed for your life. This tackles that huge fear of running out of money head on. Plus, the money inside grows tax-deferred, and you can add other cool features like making sure there's money left for your kids, or that the income continues for your spouse if something happens to you. But of course, there are always trade-offs to think about. These are long-term products, so if you pull your money out early, you could face some pretty hefty surrender charges. Your growth might be limited by caps, and certain types, like variable annuities, can come with higher fees. It's really the price you pay for all those guarantees. Okay, now we get to the really interesting part. This is where that theoretical dream of a perpetuity kind of meets a real-world product. So how can we get that feeling of endless income in our own lives? The answer isn't about finding something that pays out literally forever and ever. It's about finding something that pays for as long as you need it to, which for most of us is our lifetime. And there's a specific kind of annuity that's designed to do exactly that, creating a sort of personal pension you can't outlive. So how does this actually work? Well, it starts with a product called a fixed indexed annuity, or an FII. Your money grows based on how a market index, like the S&P 500, performs. But, and this is key, you're protected from losses if the market goes down. Then you add a feature, a rider, called a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit. When you're ready, you flip that switch and it turns on a guaranteed income stream for life. And here's the absolute best part. Even if your account balance eventually drops to zero, the insurance company is on the hook to keep paying you for as long as you live. That's the guarantee. So when we wrap this all up, what's the practical takeaway for somebody who's actually trying to plan for their future? It really comes down to knowing the difference between a cool idea and a real tool. At the end of the day, it's this simple. A perpetuity is a cool concept about infinite payments, but it's not something you can buy. An annuity, on the other hand, is a real, tangible product that can provide payments for your lifetime. It's a practical tool for retirement.
And honestly, this quote says it all. If your goal is to have an income that you can't outlive, the most practical and frankly the safest way to do that is with a fixed indexed annuity that has one of those lifetime income riders.
So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Is the dream of forever what you really need? Or is the goal of securing an income for your lifetime the smarter, better target to aim for? Knowing the difference is really the first step to making that goal happen. Thanks for tuning in.